Welcome to the Geek Show, fellow geeks, or the Geek Easy, I should say, where today we are going to be discussing Incorruptable, the omnibus, published by Boom Studios, written by Mark Waid. Okay, this is the sequel series to Irredeemable. Irredeemable was basically what happens when you have a Superman type of character who is basically unbeatable, who decides to or just go evil or just snaps. And everybody's attempt to stop him. And basically how hard it's gonna be, and all the things everyone has to do to stop him. Now this one here is you have a character by the name of Max Damage. He was a bad guy. He was one of the Plutonians, the Superman archetype from this thing, main villains. His power set is pretty simple. The longer he's awake, the stronger he gets. So when he first wakes up, there's about an hour where he's just like a regular person. But then things start to harden up. So the longer he's awake, the stronger he gets. But he is also susceptible to the sleep. It's just where you don't get enough sleep, so it can cause issues with him. So he has to go to sleep at some point in order to stay sane. And in this one, this series is him saying, "Wait, what? Dude, he went batshit and is destroying the world." So he decides to try and become a good guy. And it's the struggle he goes through from the second he decides to switch sides to the end of excuse me, him not knowing what to do as a good guy, having everybody not believe that he's becoming or that he's actually a good guy. Everyone seems to think it's an angle. His sidekick, who happens to be the name of Jailbait, which I think is really funny, and that is her power, is that she is actually jailbait. It's kind of disturbing if you think about it for a second, but it's a really interesting study in what a guy like him has to do, how he looks at things, because this guy was just a bastard. Yeah, he was like almost the complete 180 of the Plutonian. He was evil just because. You do eventually at some point get to see his life story and how he became the way he became. And how growing up like that affected his lifestyle. So when he does the 180 and tries to become a good guy, he just goes completely overboard. I mean, all the money he had from before, which he gained from nefarious means, gone. The headquarters that he had for doing crime, gone. That he got rid of because that was from his previous life. He's no longer, having fun with uh, jailbait, which he never should have in the first place. But, it's just... And then he takes it from one extreme to the other where he can't do anything remotely bad. And he's getting frustrated because his decisions aren't working. People don't trust him. He has to try and convince... Jailbait is the only person who at first is willing to work with him, and she's not serious about this. Everyone else is like, yeah, he's full of it. We don't. He doesn't really mean it. Any type of law enforcement is like, yeah, he's still a bad guy. We don't trust him. So it's just basically, it is such a good story of him, of attempted redemption and the struggles he had to go through, whether it's fighting the bad guys or morally with the people stuck with him, or other bad guys who are sitting there going, okay, what's your angle? Come on, let's go do this. No, I'm serious. I'm not screwing around here. I'm a good guy. And trying to work his decisions to actually be morally correct and do justice as opposed to just being kind of hardcore on either end. I can see why people say that Mark Waid is, when he's good, is good, because these two books, Irredeemable and then this, are very well done and interesting and funny. Well, the problem is that something like this, it takes a bit of time to read. It's not like something like size is something that I can take to work. You can't lug something like this around at work, so I had to do it at home during the time. But you get to see how dark he got when he was a bad guy, and you get to see what he's trying to do as the good guy, not succeeding in the frustration he goes through in not achieving those goals. And so there's the arc of the story is quite interesting. And there's just some really funny moments, with the discussions that people have in there with him and him arguing with other with former partners of his, the bad guys, and then with the good guys that he's trying to argue with to say, hey, look, I'm serious, I'm good. I'm aware there are other books out there that deal with the Superman archetype going bad, but I think this is the first one that I've seen. I'm not saying there aren't any other ones, but this is the first one I've seen where you're having something like this with a really horrible bad guy tries to go and be a complete good guy and stays that way without having to, revert back to being the bad guy. Because sometimes you see in stuff like, you have like Magneto switching sides all the time. He's a good guy, and then all of a sudden he goes back to being a bad guy. Good guy, bad guy. But this one is just on the same, track, and, he has an idea of what's good and what's stuff, but that doesn't necessarily work. So I say get it. I'm going to give this, a 4.25 or 4.5 out of 5. And say get it. Like I said, it's published by Boom Studios, and it is It's $40, $39.99, and it's worth it. So let me hear in the comments what you thought of it, if you read it, and like, subscribe. Most of all, enjoy your comments.